Alrighty, guys, we are back for episode 2. I'm so excited for this one. So this interview, I actually don't really know who we're interviewing, so I'm going to let Avery introduce her, but here we go.
Okay, so today we have my FCA leader, Abigail. She's super sweet, and she's very Christ-like and Christ-oriented. And so it was one of those things where we're talking about my story. I knew that I immediately needed to have her on here. So, Abigail, tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, hello, my name is Abigail. I'm a senior at Headland. I just turned 18 a couple weeks ago. I'm very excited to be here. Like Avery said, I do lead alongside Kylie Jenkins for FCA, the girls group huddle at Headland High School. I've been doing that this whole year. Before this year, I attended FCA regularly, but I wasn't a leader or anything. And then this year, Mr. Jolly and Miss Brittany Jolly, who are my youth pastor and his wife, they asked me and Kylie if we wanted to lead the girls' FCA Bible study devotional, and we said yes, and it's been one of the biggest blessings.
And how did you come to know Christ?
So I kind of grew up with very Christ-like parents. My parents split up when I was really young, and so I just kind of, for all I can remember, I've just always kind of gone, to my dad's and my mom's, and I've been very blessed that they have such a good relationship, including my step-parents. I'm saying step-parents just for the sake of the podcast. I don't usually say step, but I'm using that as just so I can differentiate. But they've just always had a great relationship, and my parents really tried to, from a young age, incorporate God in my life. My mom and my stepdad, we didn't regularly go to church a lot because my stepdad was in the Army for a while, and so we didn't really want to get plugged into a church and then move, because we would stay for a couple years and then we'd move away. But my stepmom, my dad's, my dad, they go to church regularly every Sunday. We still go, but I kind of we had a youth pastor at our church that really helped me and my brother a lot. He was a very good youth pastor, but he ended up moving. And after that, I guess I stopped having as much of an interest. I had an interest in the stories of the Bible, but I don't think I necessarily it was that kid curiosity of Adam and Eve and Noah's Ark and stuff like that. But as I got older, grew up and we moved to Headland, me and my mom, my stepdad and my sister, we moved to Headland, and I, was kind of nervous. It was another new school, and I ended up going to Headland Middle School. I came here in 8th grade, and I enjoyed my 8th grade year. I actually made really good grades. I had a friend group that I really loved, and I enjoyed it. But then summer before freshman year, I kind of went through a hard time. And I wasn't saved. I didn't have Christ. So I was kind of going through this hard time, and it was hard. I mean, my parents were definitely huge helps and did try to kind of tell me about Christ in that hard time. However, for me, I feel like when you haven't accepted Christ, when somebody's telling you about Christ, sometimes it's really difficult to, relate it to your life. But I do remember, in those moments, when I was really sad, I would pray. And I would look at certain scriptures, but I wasn't there yet. I wasn't in that moment yet.
Yeah.
But freshman year, it was really difficult. My freshman year was very, very hard. It was one of the most complicated times. I feel like freshman year is kind of a hard time for everybody, but it was very, I don't know, my emotions were just very back and forth, and I was very, and what was my problem was that I didn't tell anybody about my struggles. I didn't want to. I didn't want to feel like I was I didn't want to feel like I was
crazy?
Yeah. I didn't want to feel crazy. I didn't want to feel like I was, not that I was, but I didn't want to put my problems onto other people.
Amelia?
Yeah, that's right. That sounds about right.
It is. That's not good. Nobody
Yeah,
listening
don't do
to this,
that.
don't do
Don't
that.
do that.
It's really bad. It's not good for you. And I have parents, like, I'm very blessed with my parents. They would have listened to me. But I think I was also scared to kind of open up a little bit because these are very complex emotions. And as, like, a kid, like a teenager, you're going through all these things. So it's like, how do I even go about this? And
Yeah, and I feel like kids and teenagers are one of the most common words is, well, you don't even know how to feel like that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not old enough to feel that.
Yeah, I think Billie Eilish said it.
Like, yeah,
Kids, all they have is
their
feelings.
emotions. Yeah.
All they have.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that is one of the worst things you can say to someone in that situation. And I feel that is also part of the reason that some kids are drawn to that darkness because
they don't want to
I'm
open
not
up.
supposed to feel that way.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. And my parents, they never, my parents, I say so many good things about my parents because I really do have great parents. My parents are great and they would have listened to me. But I don't know why I had this, this, in my head, I had this, like, mindset of, like, if I open up, they're going to perceive me a different way. But it's like these, at the time, like, even with my friends, like, I wasn't even comfortable really opening up to the friends that I had at the time. I had pretty good friends. I mean, I'm not as, it was a friend group that kind of split up, but I had good friends that probably would have talked to me, But the few times that I did open up to some of those friends, it just disappointed me because they didn't comfort me in the way that I needed to be comforted. I needed to be comforted by Jesus, but I didn't understand that yet. Like, I was looking for, comfort in places that I shouldn't have been. And so instead of telling people and being honest with how I felt about certain things or how I was feeling, I kept it inside and I didn't talk to anybody about it. And that was what was bad. I kept it hidden for that whole year, and that's truly what I think led to so much of me being sad and my insecurities and stuff like that. And I finally, like, that summer before my sophomore year is when I met Christ. I was encountered by Christ. I was at my dad's house. I go to my dad's every summer. And it was a normal summer day, and I just remember waking up and, like, my heart was just racing. Like, I just had so much, like, anxiety just coursing through me. And I remember, like, I had prayed off and on throughout, like, my freshman year in those, like, dark moments or those sad moments that I had. But I wasn't saved. Like, I wasn't fully surrendering my problems to the Lord. I wasn't being obedient. I was just venting to him, which is good. Telling God those things was good, but I also wasn't surrendering it. And so, like I said, I kind of woke up, I had this, like, just coursing through me, like, just anxiety just so heavy on me, and it just was such a weird thing. Like, I had felt anxiety, like, before, and I had experienced, like, where I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep from anxiety, but this was like, yeah.
I know how you feel.
Yeah, like, there was, like, one time where I remember, like, one time, like, there was a situation that had happened, like, I just couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, like, from my anxiety, I would vomit, like, from...
It just almost feels like a blockage.
Yes, and I was just like, what? Like, I was just like, why? And I think it created some sort of a, like... Again, like, as a teenager, you don't understand what you're feeling, and as a kid, you don't understand what you're feeling, and especially without having Christ, I didn't have, and I wasn't opening up to anybody, so it wasn't like I had anybody telling me, this is what you need to do, like, you can tell people something, but I just was so, like, stuck in my own head that I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody anything. And when I had that encounter, I would say, like, that whole summer, I did start to see, I even saw a little bit of a transformation within myself, like, after that encounter with the Lord that morning, like, I remember feeling, like, this urge to pray, and I hadn't felt that in a while, and I remember just, like, praying, and I gave my life to the Lord in that morning, and that whole summer, I kind of opened up more, and I ended up opening up to my stepmom, and, about things that had happened in my life, about things that I had gone through, and what I was mentally feeling, and she didn't make me feel alone. Like, I don't know why I had this, like, in my head that my parents weren't going to understand because they've never made me feel like they wouldn't. But
I went through the same thing. Like, my parents, I told them how long ago? I think a couple months ago. And those who listened to the podcast before, they know about the attempt and everything. And so I have a Do It for Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, the girl, like, Amelia wrote a story about internal suicide and suicidal thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And so in that story, my character, I guess you could say, it's not a character because I didn't want anybody knowing who I was.
Your alias.
Mary.
Her alias.
Her
persona.
Yeah. So it's a Do It for Mary, and how long did it take for me to? I told you in 8th grade.
Well, you actually told me in 9th grade, so that was December of 9th grade, but it had happened in July of 8th grade, and so she didn't tell her parents until, like, January or February of this year.
Right. So
yeah, it was like years.
That's one of the hardest things is coming clean to your parents because it's like either A, they're going to get mad at me, they're going to be mad that I didn't tell them in their time, or B, they're not going to understand. They're not going to understand
how I'm feeling.
Yes. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. They're not going to understand how I'm feeling or how this made me feel.
Mm-hmm. I think it's scary because these are your parents. These are the adults that you look up to. And, you know, when you're coming to them and you're telling them that I'm sad, like, you don't know how they're going to react. Sometimes they freak out and they're like, what's going on? Sometimes, you know, and parents aren't perfect. I mean, I have great parents, but nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect all the time. You know, adults aren't perfect all the time. And it took a lot of me to understand that, like, my parents are human. Like, they're human beings. Like, they, you know, growing up, they are, like, these superheroes. And my parents are still, like, my superheroes and stuff like that. But they're human. They're human beings, you know?
Yeah, they don't have it all figured out.
Yes, because nobody does. I mean, we're not meant to, I don't think. I think that, we're all imperfect people. That's why we need to be saved by Christ, because we have him as our anchor to go throughout this life and to help him guide our decisions instead of acting out of impulse or hiding what you're feeling like I did. And so it was like when I finally opened up, because after I opened up to my stepmom, I ended up opening up to to all my parents. Slowly, it wasn't like easy, but I started to become a little bit more open with my parents, like, going forth. And it was very difficult because, again, you don't know how they're gonna, like, how somebody's, because no parent wants to hear, like, I'm not a parent, but I'm sure no parent wants to hear that their child is sad, like, or is anxious. Because that's my parents. Like, that's my mom, that's my dad. You know, those are my parents. Like, they don't want to hear that their daughter is, like, sad. So it was, you know, it's hard. But I also have parents that when I told them, they were understanding and they also wanted to help. It wasn't like well, suck it up. Like, it wasn't like that. You know, it was, you know, they, you know, I mean, still to this day, I mean, me and my parents have such a great relationship. I can text my stepmom at any time of the day and be like, hey, I'm kind of worried about this. And she'll walk me through it, but faith-based. Same with, like, my dad and my mom and my stepdad. Like, I can text any of them and tell them, like, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. And even though they all have different reactions sometimes, like, doesn't mean that they're bad reactions. It's just, they all are it's crazy because they all have such different, like, personalities, but they still love me, so they help me in any way that they can. Yeah. And when I got, like, saved, it was like, okay, I'm not completely alone. Like, I know that my parents understand me, but now I have Jesus. Mm-hmm. So it's not like now, you know, I have a faith that's anchored in what his word says rather than just what the world says or what people say. And it was, but the only thing that kind of I struggle with, I would say, was, like, my biggest thing before salvation was, like, hiding what I was feeling. That was, like, my biggest thing. And I needed to get out of that because that's not good. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good even for your physical health.
It's just unhealthy all around. Yes, it's unhealthy. It is one of the hardest things to break.
Yes.
Like, that is one of the hardest habits to break.
Mm-hmm. I would even say, like, not to kind of stray off, I would even say, like, people pleasing was a big one for me, because even when I was super little, I always wanted, like, from my earliest memories, I wanted to please everybody. And I had to learn, like, very quickly. I was like, I can't please everybody. Like, I can't please everybody. Like,
I'm sorry. I'm sure you can see me looking at
no,
it.
Yeah. You're just describing my whole story. It's fine.
See, this is why it's good. It's because, like, we have fellowship. Like, we can all relate to each other in different ways. Like,
Yeah.
I want, like, just a little girl, like, I feel so bad for my little self because I wanted to please everybody. And I had, like, to learn through, like, a few experiences that, like, I'm not going to be able to please everybody. And I shouldn't have to please everybody.
Yeah,
like,
that's not what we're meant to
that's
do.
not what I'm meant to do. And also, like, by pleasing everybody, I can also hurt the people around me. Like, so it's like, it's not
Somebody
just
write that
about
down.
Yeah, it's not just about me. It's about the people that I love. Like, by me trying to go out of my way and please everybody, I could have, like, I probably hurt more feelings than I did help anybody, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That people pleasing and hiding what I'm feeling, those are, like, the two things that are, like, my biggest obstacles in my faith, along with anxiety. Anxiety has been very difficult to overcome as well, but those two, including anxiety, those are, like, the three, I think for most Christians, those are probably the most difficult things to overcome, because they're all three things that are talked about, but I don't think that there's enough Christians that talk about it. I feel like there's so many people that talk about it and know that it's wrong, but I don't know. I have searched so many times for podcasts that talk about, like, Christian podcasts, and I don't always find them. Like, there's a good few that, like, I love and that, like, do talk about those things.
Yeah.
But
like
they
Bryce
don't always
Crawford,
do it. I love Bryce Crawford. Love Bryce Crawford. He talks about everything.
Jesus in the streets.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's why people love Bryce too, is that he doesn't stray away from any topic ever. So it's one of those things where I think as Christians we have to talk about the things that are hard.
Because one of our Bible teachers used to, Amelia, what all did he struggle with?
He had really bad OCD and, like, diagnosed OCD,
Right,
not
okay.
like, I want my things to be in order.
Just, like, for real, like, diagnosed.
Yeah. And so he was actually an alcoholic to kind of try to combat that while he was teaching us. And he struggled a lot with anxiety and depression, and he actually had to quit his job because of that. And we never knew.
Yeah,
I mean, we had no clue.
Well, you don't know. You never know what's going on with somebody.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What I mean, and he can't tell us.
Yeah,
and like, you'd never guess.
Yeah, in those positions, sometimes you can't even tell people. Like, if you have a job like that, you're not supposed to.
Yeah, and he kept saying how all the people he would talk to that were Christian would always say, well, you need to have a little bit more faith. And that's not always the answer.
No.
Just because you have faith doesn't mean that everything's going to go away. If anything, that means more stuff is going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I feel like one of the hardest things to do is to, I don't really know. I don't want to say, one of the hardest things for Christians is to say, okay, my faith isn't the problem. There's probably something else that's happening. My faith isn't the issue. I mean, don't get me wrong, it sometimes is.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
But if you have so much faith that I know God is with me, there are, I mean, heck, Jesus was tempted again and again and again and again in the desert. I mean, just because he had faith, Satan still kept attacking him.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that, like, I feel like people think, like, oh, the Christians just have it so easy. I think it's not. Even though
it's
outwardly
harder.
It maybe looks easier, like, physically, maybe I'm, like, I don't outwardly, like, say, I'm going through, like, mental warfare. It is. There's a spiritual war going on all around us. And I think the devil attacks the brain, like, the mind, the most out of everything. Like, so when it's the mind, like, if I come to school and I put on this brave face and I act like I'm perfectly fine, y'all are probably not even gonna, like, notice it, because I'm not outwardly saying there's a war going on in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, but the devil will still go to so many lengths within your brain to convince you of things, to tell you things, to make you feel like you don't have enough faith. And it's like, in some cases, maybe some people don't have enough faith. But in cases where, like you said, like, Jesus was tempted over and over and over again. Right after being baptized, he was sent and was tempted. And I'm sorry, you can't tell me that Jesus didn't have enough faith. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me he was that.
the
Like,
faith.
you can't tell me he didn't. Like, I'm not saying that I'm Jesus, but I'm saying, like, if I have faith and I know that God is, there's a difference in being like believing God, like, or believing the devil's lie and being like, oh, like, you know what, yeah, like, God's not with me right now. And being like, you know what, I know God is with me right now, but I am going through it. Like, there's the difference in being honest while also having faith.
And I'm going through it. Like,
yes.
Because we read in a devotion the other day that in the prodigal son, he doesn't say, I forgive you, but. Because whenever the word but is in the sentence, it wipes out everything before.
It does. It's the same when you're in, like, a conversation with somebody and somebody's like, I love you, but.
I like you, but I wish you wouldn't have done that.
Right.
Well, do you
like,
love me?
You're like, because it makes
it
your heart sink. And I don't think that that's how love is.
Yeah.
I think that it's, I forgive you, just point blank.
Yeah.
Not a but.
Yeah, I forgive you, and I hope that you never do that again.
Yes, and that's true. You can say that you forgive somebody, and you can also have boundaries.
Yes.
I think that's the difference.
It's a hard thing to learn, though.
It is. It's so hard. I'm still learning that because it's hard. I mean, especially at my age, like, I'm 18. So, like, friendships, I feel like I've gotten harder as I've gotten older. It has not gotten easier. I feel like I'm very grateful for the friends I have now. I have friends that I love and I know that are there for me and that love me and don't make me feel like I'm an issue. So I'm very grateful for the friends I have now. But it took a while for me to have the friends that I have now. Like, it took me a minute to get to the relationships that I have now with my people. And it's hard. But I do think that, like, in Christ, like, we shared our testimonies on Wednesday at Blackwood. The seniors did. And it was like a panel. It was like this, like a podcast style. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's kind of, like, ironic. Like, I'm doing this and that.
Yeah, you gotta practice around.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, okay. I kind of feel a little bit more prepared. But we talked about how, like, I said that I feel like being in Christ, he's made me more personable. Like, personable is like, I can talk to anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Like, I can, like, there's not anybody in my school that I wouldn't have a conversation with. Like, if the situation arises, there's not one person that I wouldn't talk to. Like, I don't, like, the one thing I don't like anybody feeling like they're not included in something. And I don't like when anybody feels, like they can't come up. I don't want to ever be the person that somebody can't come up and talk to.
Yeah.
And I've made that, like, a big thing. And I feel like in Christ, he has made me more like that. I feel like before Christ, I was a little bit like that. Like, I could talk to everybody. I was nice to everybody. Because even, like, before, I didn't want anybody to feel alone. Like, I've never wanted anybody to feel alone. But after Christ, like, after I've gotten saved, it's been so different. Like, I feel like he's opened doors for more conversations with other people. And it's not just oh, hey, how are you? It's like a actual conversation with people that I never thought that I would talk to. Not because I thought of them as less than or whatever, but just because maybe we didn't hang out in the same friend group. Maybe I just never saw them at school.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that.
And I pray every night, Lord, give me people to spread your word to and give me the confidence to spread. Because that is one of the hardest things.
It is.
Especially, like, I used to be the biggest antisocial part. Like, I had a hoodie that I just donated and it said, leave me alone. Like, I hated people. Like, it was so bad. It was terrible. Like, ugh.
I understand.
Like, I look back and I'm like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Who is this chick?
Get over yourself.
Like, I think that just proves, like, we need people. Like, we need, as Christians, we need to share the gospel. We need to be willing to share the gospel with everybody. It's not just I'm doing this because I have to. Like, yeah, you need to share the gospel because you have to. Like, that's what Jesus calls us to do. But it's the willingness, like, the obedience of it. And it's beautiful. Like,
obedience
it's a beautiful
always
thing.
comes from love.
Yes, and it's a beautiful thing. Like, I've never shared the gospel and felt bad after.
Oh, yeah.
Like, never.
Oh, yeah.
I've never shared the gospel and been like, that sucked. Like, no, I've never felt like that. Even if
Have I felt awkward? Yes, 110%.
It is, especially
like,
if you're doing it with somebody you don't know. Like,
the first random person I ever shared the gospel to, we were sitting in my doctor's office for, like, my ADHD medicine, all that kind of stuff, and a person came in. I don't even know, like, he had a mustache, but he looked like a girl. I was like, hello? No, that's mine. I was like, hello? And I was actually with Olivia Lewis at the time.
Love her.
She's such a doll.
So
I
sweet.
love her so much.
Oh my goodness, I love her.
We love you, Olivia. She's listening.
I love her so much. She's so sweet. I had yearbook with her last semester. She's so sweet.
Yeah. But the person came in and God was like, go pray for that person. And I was like, excuse me?
Right.
In the middle of a doctor's waiting room. What do you mean?
Yes.
And so I go over there and I said, hey, I felt led to come tell you my story and can I pray for you?
Sometimes you have to do it though.
Like, what's your name?
Yes.
And he was like, Ashton. And I was like, okay. So as I was praying, I was like, Lord, please help Ashton. Because I didn't know pronouns.
Right.
I was
Like, you just were like Ashton. But, you know, that just shows, like, we're supposed, like, even though that situation was probably uncomfortable. I mean, sharing the gospel period with anybody you don't know is very awkward and uncomfortable.
And I forgot that also hate germs, like, because my immune system's not that good.
Right.
So, and there was no hand sanitizer in my purse, and I just had to get up and, like, get a handful of hand sanitizer because it was rude. I was like, ugh.
It's okay. See, it's like, at least you did it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like something where you were like, no, I'm too scared, I'm not going to do it. Like, it was, at least you did it. Because I'm sure it was uncomfortable and awkward. Like, that's awkward and uncomfortable, period, for anybody.
Yeah.
But doing it and being like, okay, I'm awkward and I'm uncomfortable, but I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, that takes more obedience, I think, than anything. Because at Blackwood, Mr. Jolly teaches us a lot about cold evangelism. Like, just going up to somebody and being like, this is it. And
I can see him doing that.
He's taught us.
I love doing that. It's so much fun.
It's so good, though, because I'm grateful, because I've never been at a church where they taught us evangelism. I've never been in a youth group where they taught us evangelism, ever. Yeah. Like, they taught us, like, I don't even think I learned about, like, I knew about preaching the gospel, but I didn't know, like, I don't think I ever, like, thought about it before coming to Blackwood, which is crazy, because obviously it's a command, but I don't think I fully understood it. And then when I came to Blackwood, like, that's one of the topics that Mr. Jolly talks about a lot is evangelism, period, and cold evangelism specifically. And he's given me, we have the FCA bracelets now because of FCA, which we have had to learn that a lot. But we've done, like, the Roman Road. We've done the bad news, worst news, good news, great news, I think is how it goes. And he's taught us so much about it, but I'm so grateful, because even though it's awkward, I'm so grateful he's taught me that, because now I can do it. Like, I know I can do it. It's not like I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I've never, like, I've been, even in situations where I've been led to share the gospel, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't feel, like, completely clueless. And honestly, sharing the gospel could also be just having conversations with people. Like, I've had conversations with people this year, again, that I've never thought that I would have conversations with. Not because of anything bad, but because I didn't know them. Like, maybe they were new to the school. Like, like, I just didn't know them. Like, all those things. But I've had conversations where, like a person that is not saved, like, is, like, in tears by the end of it. Like, having conversations, just opening up does so much for the kingdom. It's not just, obviously I'm sharing the gospel with this person, but I'm also sharing my testimony as I'm sharing it.
Yeah.
And I think it helps them to understand me more, to know, like, this is what Jesus has saved her from. Like, this is what he's freed her from. And being open about also struggling.
Yeah, that's like the whole point of this podcast.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we started
being honest. It's all about honesty is really what it is. It's about faith, it's about love, and it's about honesty.
Yeah. So you said that you keep saying before salvation and after salvation. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us the day and, like, the surroundings and, like, the moment you were saved? Can you tell us, like, the setting and, like, what was going on then?
Yeah, I don't know the exact dates, because I do know it was early summer. Like, I hadn't been at my dad's house very long. So it had to have been either late May or early June. I don't know the exact date, but it was in the summertime.
Yeah. And
I was in my room. I was in my room at my dad's house, and I had woken up. Again, like, my heart was just racing. My, like, mind was just, like, like, when your mind just does not stop. Like, it just was, my mind was racing with so many thoughts that, like, I didn't even understand all that. Why am I thinking?
It was just downright exhausting.
Yes, I was like, why am I thinking this? I was like, it's a summer day. I'm with my family. Like, I just woke up. Like, nothing has upset me yet. Like, why am I like,
Why am I the way that
why am
I am?
I smiling? Like, what is going on in my brain? And I think I was honestly a little scared too, because I was like, I felt so, like, obviously when your mind is racing like that, it was such a, like, and especially right when you wake up, it's like, what, like, just happened? Like, I was just like, what is going on? Like, and then that made me freak out a little bit more. I was like, whoa, racing. And I was scared because I was like, why is it like this? Like, again, I had just woken up. Like, I don't even think I had looked at my phone yet. Like, I wasn't, like, nothing was, like, happening in my life at that time where I would have been like, oh, okay, what I'm feeling makes sense. Like, I just was completely like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I remember, like, having this, like, within me, like, being like, something just told me, like, pray. That was the only word that was in my head, was pray. And throughout, like, freshman year, I wasn't very consistent in prayer. Like, I would pray at moments when I was struggling, but I wasn't praying consistently, like, every single day. And so for me to hear the word pray in my head, like, that's like an odd thing, you know? And so I prayed, and in that moment, I was like, I need to surrender this. I was like, I've given too much power to my external issues, like, whether it's been to people pleasing, whether it's been to anxiety, whether it's been to just mental warfare in general. Like, I was like, I've given this too much power. Like, I've given this too much power over my life. And I was like, I can't do it. Like, I cannot do it on my own. I can't do it by myself. Like, it's too much for me to handle. And that was, like, the moment I was like, I give it to you. I was like, I don't know what you're going to do with it, because I didn't read, like, my Bible before then. Like, I read, like, you know, in, like, Bible school when you're little, you learn all, like, the Adam and Eve and, like, Noah's Ark and all that stuff. I never really opened up the Bible and read. And so I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what he was going to do with it. But I was like, I know that there's a reason that you're telling me to pray. And I don't think that that's coincidental. Like, I was like, I feel sure in this moment that I don't know what you're going to do with what's going on in my head, but I know you're going to do something good with it. Yeah. And in that moment, I was just like, okay. Like, and I gave it up to him, and it hasn't gotten easier. It's not always easy. I mean, it has gotten easier in a lot of ways, but it's one of those things where
my music teacher always says that it's never something that goes away. You're fighting it every single day of your life. So it might be, you might learn how to attack it. Like I said this during my interview, you learn how to attack it head on, but it never gets to the point where it's completely gone.
No. And the thing is, though, he's done so much in my life that I'm content. I'm, like, not content in a bad way, but I'm, like, I know that I've surrendered these issues to him. Like, I know that I still struggle at times. But that day, I have not been the same person. So, like, you can't tell me that he's not real or that what he's done is not real, because the second that I surrendered and I just told him, I was like, I need you. Like, I can't do it by myself. I can't do it on my own. Like, it's not good for me to do it on my own. Like, people aren't helping me. Like, to be fair, I wasn't opening up enough to people, but also the people that I did open up to, they disappointed me. And they ended up hurting me more than actually helping me. And I was like, I can't do it. Like, I can't go to I can't do it by myself. Like, in my darkest moments, he was the only thing that gave me comfort.
Yeah.
Even in, like, 9th grade, when I did have those moments where I prayed, that was the most comfort I had felt. Out of that, I didn't feel that comfort. And so I was like, I know that you're real, because you've given me...
There's no denying what
there's no denying what, even from this moment, even though I spent freshman year being so sad, there's no denying that he, like, you can't tell me he doesn't want me here for a purpose, because he completely transformed my life from the second that I was like, I can't do it by myself.
Yeah. you keep saying you like your mental struggles. Are you okay with telling us about that?
Yeah.
Or more specifically, you keep saying sad.
Okay.
Yeah, just elaborate a little bit.
Yeah.
So I would say it all stemmed mainly from my anxiety. Anxiety was my big thing. That was my struggle. And even from a young kid, like I remember when I was little, like I'd get nervous about like little things, like being late to school. I would, be like really like get worked up over being late, and it was like as a kid, like school's a big deal, but like as a kid, like before high school, I feel like being late to school should not have stressed me out like that. And so as a kid, but as a kid, you also don't understand that. Like, I didn't think anything of it. As a kid, I was just like, oh, I don't want to be late for school.
Yeah, you don't really understand the magnitude of situations. Like, oh crap, I just knocked over the lamp and mom and dad are going to be really mad. Oh well. And then you're late to school, you're like, crap!
Yeah.
Help!
Right. Like, it was just something I should not have gotten worked up over. And then when I would say what really tipped it was that I had a situation when I was younger, and it's completely spiraled me. I won't go too into detail with the situation just because it was kind of family related a little bit, but it kind of spiraled me like anxiety wise. Like I remember thinking to myself like this like I don't know, like this person, like it almost seemed like this person wants to hurt me and my parents so bad. And I thought to myself, like, why? Like, why? And it was something where, like, it wasn't, like, I don't want anybody to think it was, like, a, inappropriate thing. I don't want anybody to think that, because the way I'm wording it, it wasn't like that. No. It was, like, somebody had brought me into a adult problem, basically.
Yeah.
And as a kid,
that shouldn't be.
I should not have be in that. And even though, like, I was a kid and stuff like that, it was something that it really caused me to be, like, if I knew that this person was going to be at a family function, you can ask my stepmom. Obviously, you're not going to ask my stepmom, but, like, you can ask my stepmom. I would I would freak out. Like, I would cry. Like, after this situation happened, even just the idea of seeing this person made me anxious. Like, even if I knew I wasn't going to talk to this person, like, it made me anxious because I felt so, like, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I was vomiting, like, from eating, and, like, my parents were very concerned. Like, my mom, like, my stepmom and my dad were so concerned. They were like, what's going on? Like, it wasn't, because they had seen me, like, get, like, nervous and stuff like that, but they never seen me get so anxious over a person.
Chronic anxiety.
Yes. And so when they were just, like, I think that's when they kind of wiped their hands clean of this individual as well, because they were like, my child should not be feeling this way over a person, like, ever. And obviously I have Christ, so I have strength, like, more strength now. But at the time, like, my parent, like, I would freak out at just knowing or just having the idea of maybe this person was going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And like, I shouldn't have let that have such a control over my life, because at the end of the day, like, people should not be bringing out, like, a level of, like survival in you like that. Like, nobody should be. And it was just, I don't know, it was just, that was, I think, the tipping of my anxiety. From that moment with my anxiety, I was not, like, my anxiety from that moment, I feel like, got progressively worse until I got saved. So I'm not blaming everything on this person. Obviously nobody's perfect, but I'm saying, like, that I think was what triggered so much more of my anxiety, because then after that, like, any time that anybody seemed, like, a little bit off with me, or any time that anybody did anything that kind of, like, reminded me of that situation, like, it,
it's trauma triggers.
It was it triggered me. So then I like would overreact over something that I did not like need to overreact about. Like I don't know. And I probably hurt a lot of people's feelings because it was a triggering situation. And so then when people are doing something similar, it's like, whoa.
Calm down.
Yeah.
But
it's
they
like,
don't know the
they don't
survival
know.
instinct. That's
Yeah, they don't
them.
know. Because I think what hurt me so bad too is because I was blaming myself because I felt bad because my parents were also affected by this person. And so I think I put a lot of it on myself, which to some degree I can understand, like, me putting, like, whatever. But it was, I don't know, it was just a triggering thing. And this person was, like, we learned very much later on that this person was, like, somebody that I think just hurt my family and hurt
just
my parents. They just wanted to cause like chaos, and it made me very anxious because I was like constantly on edge. I was like, what's gonna happen next? Like, what is gonna do? Like, what is gonna happen? And it was just very hard. And from that moment, like, and I hated that I allowed that person to have so much power over me, because they don't, like, it, they just shouldn't have had that much power over my life. But it's something I'm also grateful for, because it's something that's now a part of my testimony. And I don't talk about this situation a lot because it was a very complex situation. Obviously, it was like personal. My parents involved, and it was very personal, and so it's kind of hard to talk about it without like bringing up people, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna bring up people. But it was I don't know. It was just a very triggering situation, and I think it spiraled my anxiety. I would say that was the situation that I think spiraled it. Yeah. And obviously at that time when the situation happened, I didn't have Christ, so it wasn't like I had something to lean on. I allowed this person to make me so fearful, and it caused me to, I think, have even more like people pleasing issues, I think, and anxiety. And anytime, like I said, like anytime anybody gets a little bit off with me, like I freak out, like a spiral. And it's sad, but it's also one of those things where it's like, I know that God is going to turn it into something good. It's not something that's...
He's going to use it for his glory.
Yeah, he's going to use it for his glory. And at the same time, like I forgive, and, you know, I have peace now. Like it's not something where I'm still giving that so much of my time. But it is like, just being honest, like it was such a very like anxious time for me, I would say.
Okay, so how Avery introduced me to you was she said that she was like feeling alone one day, and that she ran up and talked to you, and that you had told her that you had struggled with like depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
So can you speak on the depression side of that as well?
Yeah, I had I would say the depression and that stuff, it was, I think the reason it got so bad was because I didn't tell anybody about it. And I think that, because I think that I'm one of those people, I suffer in silence. I don't like to tell people when I'm struggling. Like, I even when my parents are like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong? You seem a little off. Like, even now to this day, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like, it's fine. Like, it's all good. But my parents can tell now, because I am able to be more open with them, so they can tell more now, like, something's wrong. But I would say, like, it got so bad because I was so, and I know now that it was just an attack from the enemy, because he put things in my brain of, like, you know, you're never going to have real friends. You're never going to, you know, I don't want to say, like, you're never going to be.
Almost never going to be able to trust again.
Yeah. Like, it was that. Like, he made me feel, like, I allowed the enemy to make me feel hopeless. And I shouldn't have been, because I had family and I had friends that were going to be there for me, but I had felt like, and then again, the enemy tried to convince me, like, oh, if you do tell anybody, they're not going to understand. They're not going to get it. Like, nobody's going to care. Like, nobody cares. Like, you're just going to be like this for the rest of your life. Like, I genuinely thought that, but it's not true. Like, it's so far from the truth. Like, I was not alone, but I felt so alone. And it was one of those things, like, where people talk about, like, artists and all those people talk about, like, I was so crowded by people. I was around people all the time. In freshman year, you would have thought that I was like the most joyful, happy person because I was out with my friends every weekend. I was having sleepovers. It's
whenever you're hiding that.
Yes, I literally I went above and beyond, I think, to make sure that people didn't think I was struggling. And that's what was bad about it because I even thought to myself, like, the other day, like, I was doing my makeup and it was such a random thought, but like I was doing my makeup and I was like, I was so sad in like freshman year, and yet my, like, as silly as it sounds, my skin looked so great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that I went above and beyond to externally make people think that I was great and that I was doing great when I really was not. And it was, and again, it wasn't anybody's fault because I wasn't opening up to anybody. You know, it was me. It was internally what I was struggling with, but I wasn't going and opening up to anybody.
Yeah, and also one thing to keep in mind when going through that is it's also not your fault. It's also not your fault. Like, you can't control that.
Mm-hmm.
And it in that moment, like I said, it's scary because
it was, yeah,
because you feel you're overreacting or you're not processing
constantly
something correctly. So it's a fear of judgment to
Yeah.
go to someone. So also to keep in mind, it's not anyone's fault really, but
Yeah.
it's just something that we can help or not. It's something people in general can help with.
Yeah. But in the mindset that I was in, I didn't think that.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think it also created so much resentment against the people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't opening up to people, but yet I had so much resentment because the few people that I did open up to, they left me even more disappointed. Like, I had a couple experiences where I'd open up to friends and then they went and told other friends. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was like, I trusted you with this information and you went and told another friend that I didn't want. Like, if I wanted that other friend to know, I would have told them. And, you know, that sounds mean, but it's the truth. I shouldn't have to go to a friend and worry if they're going to go and tell somebody else.
Yeah, because that's not a true friend. That's just someone that's there.
No, and it hurt me. It hurt me really bad because I also was like, then that made me feel like I can't open up to any of my friends then. Because if they're so willing to go and tell other people, then there's nobody I can tell. Like, there's some people I didn't want to know. And for that exact reason, because I didn't want them to go and tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And with my parents, it wasn't even like, I didn't have like anything against my parents. I think I just, like, the enemy had convinced me so much that, like, my parents weren't gonna understand because I'm their kid, you know. I'm their kid, and like, and opening up about that stuff is scary as it is, but I feel like opening up to a parent sometimes can be even harder because those are my parents. Like, these are the adults in my life that want me to be okay. They're my family, and, you know, it was hard enough. I think my friends, like, telling other friends, I think that made it even harder for me to go and tell my parents. And when it came to that, like, for a big thing also was, I know that it led into, like, my sadness, my depression and stuff like that, but it was my insecurities. I was so insecure. Like, I still struggle sometimes with my insecurities, but it's not as like consistent as it was when I was in, like, my freshman year. My freshman year, I was so insecure. Like I said, I went out of my way to make sure my skin looked top tier. Like, as silly as that sounds, it was the truth. Like, I went, because I was like, anytime I had even just a small pimple or irritation on my face, it would spiral me. And I was like, no, like, I need to change everything. And I
mean, I still go through that.
Like, I still do
pick
as
at
well.
my face like there's no tomorrow.
Me
like,
too,
I
and I
shouldn't.
like,
crap.
Yeah, and I still struggle with it a little bit to this day, but it was 10 times worse. Like, when I was a freshman, and I keep saying freshman because that was, like, pre-salvation, so I'm probably getting annoyed with myself how many times I say freshman, but I'm trying to differentiate. But it was just. It's so crazy because it was all in my head. Like, it truly was. I would go from being like, oh, I look so pretty. Like, I actually love my outfit. I love how I look today. My makeup turned out great. And then the next second being, like, crying on my bedroom floor because I'm like, I literally am, like, gross and disgusting. And it's like, I am not, but, like, I would convince myself that I was. Yeah. And it was, like, as silly as it sounds too, like, I colored my hair blonde. I loved my blonde hair. It was beautiful. But I think the root of it was because I wanted to change my appearance so bad. And even though I did love my blonde hair, I'm not going to lie. It was great. But the root of it was because I think I was trying so much to change how I looked, how I perceived myself, because I didn't like what I was looking at in the mirror.
If you changed how you look, maybe you could change how you feel.
Right. And I didn't. Honey, I colored my hair blonde. It didn't go away. Like, I wasn't, like, it didn't help. Like, it wasn't, like.
The bleach didn't clean it.
The bleach didn't clean it out. Like, it didn't do anything. It didn't, like, sterilize my brain. Like, it's still, like, I still was upset. Like, I still was internally really struggling. And, even though I looked so great externally, I wasn't great internally. And it's not anybody's fault. It was, I think to some degree I do have to take some accountability for the fact that I did allow the enemy to have some sort of hold in my life around how I looked, how I perceived other people, how in my freshman year, I wasn't ever, like, necessarily mean to people, but I had so much resentment against people. And that's not healthy. Because even Jesus says, like, when you are, like, angry at your brother and your sister, and that, that anger leads to, like, sin, like, and that resentment, like, it's the same as, like, killing somebody.
Yeah.
And it was really convicting when I read that scripture after I got saved, because I was like, wow, like, I think that's kind of what started, like, me really, truly forgiving people. Because I was like, I do have, like, I had so much anger against people. I had so much anger. I was so... like, you wouldn't think I did, but I did. And I think that's even worse. Because I think there's a difference in, like, somebody just being like, I don't like you, period. But I was, like, internally, like...
Yeah, I still, like, I struggle with that. Like, I used to struggle with that in the fact that I would just, like, whenever I got saved, I texted, there was a girl that was really mean to Amelia and I. And
oh, wow, okay.
I cussed her out one time. Like, I even...
Over Spotify playlist.
Yeah, I even made a Spotify playlist. You know what skirt we're going to go out with it. I made a Spotify playlist, and I was like, dear this person and this person, you never deserve a friend like Amelia, so kindly off.
Oh.
Like, it was, like, I am not the same person. Like, I called Amelia, like, this whole, like, H.D. Clark books and all that kind of stuff. This whole bookshelf, which y'all can't see it, but it's a humongous bookshelf.
Yeah.
Full of those kind of books. Like, I sold over 100.
Wow.
Like, my transformation was crazy. And I actually texted that girl, and I was like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that to you.
Shouldn't have said those, yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. You really do deserve to have someone there for you, but I'd be finding your heart. Forgive me. She still hasn't, to this day, texted me back. I texted an ex of mine, and that really, it hurt me so bad. Because there was a lot of manipulation in that one. And I was like, hey, I just felt led to talk to you and ask how you're doing or whatever.
Yeah.
And he texted me and was like, yeah, me and my love of Christ are great. And I was like, really? He never responded. So, like, I mean, I feel like it says it in the Bible, to be forgiven, you first have to forgive. But that is one of the hardest things, especially, like, I have a devotion called Too Grateful to Be Hateful. Like,
I saw that yesterday. I like that one.
It's so good. But literally, it is so hard to say, okay, I'm going to set aside all the hatred that I've learned in my life. Because, boy, did I learn a lot of it. Like, it was one of these, I just hated people.
I was like, I wanted to feel validated by people so much that it made me have so much resentment against people if I didn't feel validated. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why it can get so unhealthy, people pleasing. Because it's one thing to be nice, and it's one thing to do things for other people. And it's one thing to, be there for people. But it's another to go to them for your validation and your comfort when you should really be going to Christ. Because at the end of the day, people are going to fail you. As bad as that sounds, but it's important to know that, yes, you need to forgive, but you have to, I had to forgive myself for a lot of the resentment I had. And it was hard because I was ashamed of how angry I had been at some people and how, my anger had led to a lot of sin, in my life, and so much resentment. And I had to forgive myself, and I also had to forgive other people. And I've learned that even though people will fail me, and even though people did fail me, I learn now that it's either A, they were struggling with something much deeper, or B, it just, people can be mean.
Yeah.
But it also didn't excuse lashing out in a way that I shouldn't have, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just
And
because they hurt me doesn't excuse me hurting them back.
yes, it doesn't mean I should have taken revenge or have been petty. That there's no excuse for that. It's one thing for me to be hurt and for me to be honest with them and be like, look, this hurt me, but I forgive you and I pray that we can move on. And if we can't, then I'll still pray for you and I still love you.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. But if it's, I am going to be petty about this and I'm going to lash out because you hurt me, that's different. Especially if you're not telling the person that you're hurt. Because then that person, I think sometimes, like, miscommunication is a big thing. But I think sometimes people, like, I wouldn't want to communicate, period. So then I'd have all this built up resentment because all these things would happen. And I wouldn't go and tell the person. And so then they just keep doing it and I'm still hurt. And it's like, to some degree, that kind of was my fault.
Yeah, I know you'll get along very well.
Say, I'm not going to have a story left to say after this.
We're going to get very,
So am
like,
I.
yeah, we're going to get very close. But it just was one of those things where I was like, I think there were so many, like, mental battles that just piled up onto one another. I was insecure. I had a lot of resentment. I was anxious. I was hurt. I felt betrayed by a few people. And that left me to, I think, spiral into, now that what I'm saved from, but it spiraled into just, like, this internalizing of, like, my own, like not liking myself or liking what I'm feeling. Like, I just remember being like, I would do anything to not feel like what I'm feeling anymore. And I didn't understand what I was feeling. Like, I knew that I had these feelings towards people. I knew that I didn't feel good about myself. I knew that I didn't feel pretty. I knew that I didn't feel good. Like, it affected, like, the fact that I was so anxious that it affected my health, where, like, I didn't want to eat, like, it was affecting my mental, it was affecting my spiritual health, it was affecting my physical health. Like,
whenever it gets that bad, it not only affects you as a person as a whole, but it affects your environment.
It does. Like, I think now looking back, like, me in that mindset, like, if I had not had that mindset, I don't think that I would have even been put in certain environments that I was in. And obviously, some of the environments I was put in was not my fault. Like, sometimes, like, with friendships and stuff like that, like, if you're friends with the wrong people, it can be chaotic. Like, I will stand on this. If you are friends with somebody, maybe that is a Christian, but God has not called you to be friends with that person, if you are not hanging around people that God wants you to be hanging around, there's going to be chaos. It doesn't mean that that person is bad. It doesn't mean that...
Somebody write that down.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that that person's bad. It does not mean that that person doesn't love you or doesn't care for you. But when you are with people that God did not intend for you to be with, there's chaos because it's just, like, constantly clashing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the fruit in the garden. Like, God didn't intend for Adam and Eve to eat of that. So
Yep. So chaos
happened.
Yeah. And it's just, play stupid games, like,
Win
win
stupid
stupid prizes. So it's just the truth. Like, you know, sometimes it was my own doing that I was like, I know that, like, I would put myself into situations where I was like, I know that this person is going to hurt me, but I'm still going to go and talk to this person, or I'm still going to go and open up to this person. It's like I was doing my own self-sabotage in that sense, because I was like, I'm opening up to these people that I know are going to hurt me and have hurt me, but I'm still going to do it. And it was, I think that was my way of, like self-sabotaging and, like hurting my brain. Like, it was just such a constant, like, back and forth. Like, I would go from having a pretty good day, and then I would just end the day with, like, crying, and I wasn't telling anybody about it. And, you know, I wish going back that I would have opened up to my parents sooner, because I think it would have allowed for more healing very early on, but I didn't, because I don't know why, but I was just so in my head of, like, they're not going to understand. Which wasn't true, because they had never acted like they weren't going to understand. Like, they had never said anything that would make me believe that they wouldn't. But it was because the enemy had just convinced me so much that nobody's going to understand you. You're going to be alone forever. You're not going to have true friends. You're never going to be able to tell your parents, you know, you're not pretty enough, you know, all of this stuff. And it's like, those were such lies from the enemy. But when you're in that moment and you don't have Christ, that is what you believe.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't help that that's what we see. Like, and like, we see it everywhere.
And so, I mean, I still get those thoughts like, oh, you're not pretty enough to do this, this, and this. But that's why y'all, I mean, no one sees this, but except for the people in here. Anyways, it's a diamond art that my mama made me, and it said, "I'm fearfully and wonderfully made," and it's hanging above my mirror because I have to quote scripture to myself.
I tell that
whenever
myself.
I look in my mirror. Like, it's honestly, I think I will always fight body image issues.
Yeah.
Until the day I die, because it's such a big part of me, because I'm so, I don't know, like, it's
such a mental thing.
It really is.
Because for, like you said, I still struggle with it too. It's one of those things that I struggle with that I don't talk about enough, I feel like, because I feel like I've been very open about my mental health struggles and, you know, maybe even my acne struggles, but as far as like body image, that's not one that I've opened up to about, like, with many people, because it's very easy for somebody to say to me, "Oh my gosh, what are you talking about? You're so pretty." And it's nice. It's nice for somebody to tell me that, and it's great because I know that their intention is to make me feel better. But when I don't believe it for myself, there's nothing that anybody can say to me that's going to be like, "Oh yeah, you know what? Yes, I am." Like, there's nothing. Like, the only thing that helps me stay assured is scriptures like that, like, "I'm fearfully and wonderfully made," and, you know, it's something that I think it's honestly one of the hardest topics to learn about and to talk about, because it's such a mental thing. Because externally people can look at you and be like, "Oh my gosh, you're beautiful."
It's so hard to pinpoint where or how, because there's
like the root of
an array of things that it could come from. It could come from trauma. It could come from bullying. It could come from, like, you and I, anxiety. It could come from, I mean, so many things.
It could come from relationships too.
Don't even get me started.
That's for another day.
But, like, it can come from so many things, and so I think it's so hard for people to talk about because it's so broad.
Yeah, it is, because it comes from so many things. Like, yeah, I think everybody, like, in today's time, or at least most people, struggle with body image, because it is everywhere. Like, we see so many things, we see so many people, and it's very easy to, like, compare yourself to other people. Even online. But I think that when it comes to body image in scripture, it can be kind of hard to combat it, because I think sometimes you don't even know which scriptures to look at. And obviously, "I'm fearfully and wonderfully made" is a great one, and there's a few other ones, like "You're more precious than rubies." Yeah, that one's a good one. That's in Songs of Solomon, I think. But it's, I don't know, it's such a broad thing, like you were saying. Like, it could stem from and root from honestly anything. It could come from social media, it could come from trauma, it could come from relationships, it can come from friendships even. It could come from family. It could come from anything. It's such a broad discussion.
Well, if you could give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Obviously to trust in the Lord. If I could go back and, have had more of a relationship with the Lord, or I've been more interested, then I would. I think another thing is also, like, the people you hang around and the people that you surround yourself with and the people you tell about your problems is so important. Don't keep it bottled in, but also be careful who you talk to about it. Because, again, you don't know people's intentions. Some people, they like to gossip. Some people just, if you're in a friend group like I was, like, sometimes they just feel like, "Oh, well, if she told me, maybe she doesn't mind me telling this other person," when in all reality, I didn't want other people to know. I think another thing is, honestly, the biggest thing is, don't be afraid to open up. It's scary, but be honest with yourself, be honest with God, and be honest with the people that you trust. If it's parents, if it's another family member that you trust, if it's friendships, tell them. I know that it's obviously we don't know how people are going to react. Everybody reacts differently. We can't control how people react to things, what people say, but it's still important that we are telling people our story, and it's important that we are telling people and being honest with people with how we feel and what we're experiencing. Because if you keep it bottled in, you can't have help. Like, there's no way you're going to get full help if you are not opening up. And that's something I struggle with. So I'm telling that to myself too, even now. Like, I'm not even just trying to call out people. I'm just saying in general, like, it's very important to be open and honest, and to in communicating with people, and even doing stuff like this, where if you have the opportunity to share the gospel in the version of like sharing your testimony, then do it, because you might be helping somebody more by doing that than just keeping to yourself and not going and sharing, because so many people struggle with the things that we've just talked about. It's not like especially in today's time, it's not like an odd thing for people to go through. I think we've just made it odd because nobody likes to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. So it's one of those things where if we do talk about it more, we can help people. And it's also about having like fellowship. I also wished if I would have gone to like Blackwood sooner, I probably would. Like, I had tried out so many churches in Headland before getting invited to Blackwood, and it was like going to Blackwood has been one of the biggest blessings of my life. I've made so many new friends. Without Blackwood, I don't even think I would have been given the opportunity to be a part of FCA like a leader, because I'm very grateful that my pastor, Mr. JT, and my youth pastor, Mr. Jolly, are FCA like huddle leaders, I think is how they say. So like that, you can't tell me that's a coincidence, like that I was led to that church and that I just randomly get picked to lead something like that. Like, that, you can't tell me that's a coincidence that my pastor and my youth pastor are a part of that.
Do you have any scriptures that you would particularly want to share with the podcast today? Yes,
I have so many. There's Psalm 35. It was on my senior crown. It's my senior quote. I think I told you Psalm 35 when you would come up to me at break that one day. It's, for weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. I think I love that one so much because it relates to my testimony, because that was how I was. Weeping endured for quite a bit, but I did wake up in the morning and I had joy because I had the Lord. And I think I take that into my everyday life too. Like, I think it reminds us that there are seasons in being a Christian as well. Like, there are times that since being a Christian, there have been times where I've still gotten my feelings hurt, where I've still felt insecure, where I've still felt angry or bitter over something. But because I have Christ, I have that repentance, I have that grace, and I also have that prayer life and that relationship with Christ where he can redirect me in the ways that I need to be. And he gives me joy no matter my circumstances. Another one is, I think it's Romans 8:28. It's like, all things work for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. That's a good one. Mr. JT repeats that one all the time. There's another one that I have known this scripture for a while, but it's one that I've been struggling to memorize it, but it's this one. I'm pulling it up because I need to share this one because it relates to kind of everything we just talked about. It's Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God. I actually am reading a book, not to get off topic, but I am reading a book that I got yesterday. It's a faith-based book. It's a Christian book, and it's about stopping like the spiraling of like toxic thoughts that we think. And that scripture, even before I got the book, this scripture has been repeated to me like all week. Like, I've been seeing it in my devotionals that I do. I've been seeing it like when I open the Bible app. I've been seeing it like everywhere. And so when I got the book, I opened the first page and that was the scripture that was there. So I was like, okay, like maybe God is trying to tell me something. Because he does give us he gives us tips and tricks He gives us the power. He uses his power to renew our minds. It doesn't mean that every day is going to be easy. It doesn't mean that I'm a perfect Christian or I'm a perfect person. And it doesn't mean that I never struggle with anxiety. But
he just helps us through that stuff.
Yeah, he helps me through it. Yeah, he helps me through it, and he helps me in those moments to still, like it says, discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God. He still helps me to discern what is his will and to put his will above mine. Because when I am struggling with those thoughts, or when I'm struggling with, insecurities and stuff like that, like, it's very hard to be like, oh yeah, God, like, I trust everything, like, it's great. But in those moments, that's when I need to pray, and that's when I need to be completely honest with God and be like, look, I know that you're in control, and I know that, this is something that I struggle with, but I do know also that you can help me to discern what is your will, not mine. Because I don't want my mental health to stop me from doing what God has called me to do. And I think that's why I have such a passion for mental health. I like talking about mental health because, for one, I think it needs to be talked about among Christians, but it's also what I want to do when I get older. I want to be a biblical counselor, so I will be talking about mental health all day. I'll be talking about the Bible and mental health all day, which are two, things that I like to talk about. I like to help people. And I'm grateful that God has given me the opportunity to do FCA, because if I had not done FCA, who knows if I even would have been able to do this podcast, So it's one of those things where when I got saved, everything, even though I've gone through so much since getting saved and I've gone through struggles, you cannot tell me that he is not real, because I don't believe in coincidences. Coming to Blackwood was not a coincidence. Meeting Mr. Jolly and Miss Brittany Jolly and the Tomlins and Kylie and Reagan Lunsford and Tegan Slinker, like, and even Ansley, like, you can't tell me that it's not a coincidence. Ever since I got saved, he has truly worked everything for my good. Even if it was hard, like, it was hard losing some of my friends. It was hard, I guess, making certain decisions or being obedient in a lot of ways, but I'm so grateful for it, because I can sit here and I can say that God is real, and he's opened so many doors for me just in the last year. I mean, it's crazy what he's done, even in my senior year. I mean, he's done so much since getting saved, but in my senior year, like, I have been given, like, me and Kylie, like, have been given the opportunity to do FCA, and he's given me the opportunity to, share my testimony to people, and to even have Bible accountability, like, groups with people that I never would have thought I would, and so it's one of those things where when you truly are in Christ, I think you become more personable, so you can communicate with more people, you can be open with more people, because that's what he calls us to do. He calls us to go and make disciples, and I think that there is different gifts that he's given us all, and I think that me being able to talk about what is hard, I think that is a gift, because not everybody finds it easy to do that. And thankfully, he's given me opportunities like this to go and do that. And it's scary. It's nerve-wracking. Yeah. But it's a good thing that I'm able to do it.
I don't have anything else. Do you?
No, I think that was great. I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking of, like, all the people, like, oh, they're going to relate to that. Oh, they're going to relate to that. And I know that they're listening.
I try. I don't know. It's really cool what he can do, like, with the things that we say. Yeah. And, I never thought, like, years ago that my testimony would ever be, or my, what God has done in my life, I never thought that it would be something that people would look at, But it's cool that he has given me and so many of other people the opportunity to do stuff like this and to do FCA. Also, if there's, like, younger me, go to FCA. Go to FCA. It's so good, and it's great. It's, even if you can't make it to the morning one, it's in break. It's so good, and it's so cool to see, your friends, invite your friends, you see other people your age in there, having fellowship and learning about Jesus first thing in the morning and during break. Like, it's such a cool thing to be a part of, and it's been such a blessing to be able to lead it and not just be a part of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on here.
Of course.
It's been so good to get to know you.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm glad I was able to do it and that everything worked out in a line.
Yes. Yeah, and that's, Avery and I were talking about this, like, the people that we have lined up. I mean, it's just God. Just lining them up for us.
It truly is, because, I mean, I didn't even really know Avery, like, at the beginning of the year. Like, just because me and you had never talked. I'd seen you in FCA and stuff, but
other than
I knew you kind of through Ella Godwin. I knew you through her a little bit, but we had never really spoken until like you started asking questions, and it was cool because, you know, like we want that. Like me and Kylie, like we say it all the time. Like you all, like the girls in there, like y'all can reach out to us and ask questions. So it's cool that you even had like the courage to come up to somebody that you didn't know very well to like ask questions and to, you know, even ask me to pray over you. Like that was such a big like honor, I would say, and like to be able to be in that position for all of y'all girls, like is crazy to me that I'm able to be in that, but also really cool that it's now create like a friendship between us. It's like a really cool thing. So yeah,
I think also like, I don't know, like, you know, especially whenever it comes to FCA, I'm always writing down verses.
Yes,
and
you are.
So whenever you would come up to me and say, hey, here's the paper, hey,
Yeah.
here's the verse, like that's honestly one of the best ways to reach out to people is saying, hey, I noticed this.
Yes.
I noticed this about you, because it makes them feel seen.
Yeah, and I want I want all of you to feel seen. I think that's why like we go out of our way to ask you all questions and to make sure that you guys know that you can come to us. Like I know it's nerve-wracking because I mean there's a lot of younger girls in there too, so like me and Kylie are older, so maybe that's also like a thing, like, oh, they're older than me, like they probably don't want me to ask them, but it's far from the truth. Like we want y'all to ask questions. Like we're there for you guys. Like we're not just there to give y'all, you know, to tell y'all things. Like we're there so that you guys can ask the questions and we can hopefully answer them and be there for you guys. And we try to notice, you know, you all, and try to also give you guys compliments when we do notice that y'all are answering questions or that y'all are, you know, asking questions. I mean, it's not like, it's not supposed to be it's supposed to be fellowship. It's not supposed to be something that you're afraid of asking questions, that you're you can't come and talk to us, because you can. Everybody, all of them, you know, you guys can come and talk to me or Kylie, like whoever you feel comfortable with. And you know, I'm just grateful that I have been able to be that for a few of you guys. Like it's cool to see that.
Yeah.
All right, so you have anything else?
So,
all right. Well, I love you, God loves you, and you ought to love yourself.
yes.